We've been here before. This panel.
Oh yeah?
It's really good.
Thank you.
I'm looking
Appreciate
forward to it now, even better. I am excited. I am really excited for this panel.
Thank you. What happened, short story long, I switched the flip on that. Anyway, we actually met through back when Twitter wasn't awful, and we were exchanging ideas, and we're sharing our stories of all the stuff we've seen and had to deal with. It's like, what if there was a public service?
I think we were both getting into slap fights with the same people.
Yeah, like it's funny how we were actually like two planets in the same orbit that never actually interacted with each other, and something happened. Like, hey, we got to talk more often, and the idea is we should do something to help highlight some of the red flags, like red flags in fandom, and here's the third year presentation for it. So thank you. All right, it is 5 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and close that door and make myself useful.
Let's get this show on the road. We've got totally lame anime to get to later on tonight.
I'm going to try to wrap this up. I'm try not to go as long as I have before. Try to keep it safe and simple. So thank you. Thank you so much for being here. It's a project that started, I'd say, late 2022. And
Pre-COVID. Was it pre?
Just after COVID.
Post-COVID.
Yeah, post-COVID. I think we started doing this the year after Anime North resumed. Yeah. Please, Dave.
Oh, hi, I'm Dave Merrill. If you went to Anime Hell, I'm the guy that does Anime Hell. I've been involved in fandom, like staffing fandom conventions for 40 years, which is really disturbing that they would let a 15-year-old staff conventions. But that's the great thing about conventions, at least fan conventions, is they don't care how old you are. They treat you like a grown-up because the grown-ups are just big kids. And sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes it's not. But I've seen a lot of people get scammed and abused and ripped off, and you name it, it's happened in fandom. Because fandom's full of people. People are good and bad. So that's me. That's my story.
My actual name is Walter Schultz, but you probably heard of me by my nickname of Sid. I haven't been doing it nearly as long as you. I've only been doing this stuff for 30 years. My very first convention was Toronto Trek 1994 as a teenager. And within hours, I was put on a security detail from Agent Larry Roddenberry. And,
Like you weren't on staff? You are now.
Yeah, I got voluntold. It was probably one of the most incredible experiences of my life. I come from a public safety background. At conventions, I was one of the first responders to emergencies and all that kind of stuff. Safety and security kind of thing, and it's kind of also translated to my professional background, where my background is in risk management and disaster preparation, business continuity. I'm also a licensed private investigator, so I have to, from that perspective, I have to know laws just to make sure I don't do anything I'm not supposed to. I just wish more people would not do things they're not supposed to. Again, thank you for being here. Obviously, it's an important enough topic for a bunch of us to show up. Saturday afternoon, the days will mix around. But one of the things that drives me to do this stuff is that when I first started this journey as a teenager going to the show, I had changed my life. It was like a nexus point. It changed my life completely for the better. But when you try to talk to other people, and the common reaction was, oh, that. Talking about a convention, oh, that. Now you mention conventions, what's the common response? Oh, that! Right?
Everyone knows what a Comic-Con is. You know?
Exactly. It's part of our common lexicon, our common vocabulary that we all understand. Come on in. You might be standing room only. We got 2 chairs here. We got 2 chairs there.
A seat here.
We got a seat over here. File in. So, long story short.
So sorry.
That's all good.
Holy cow.
Sorry.
Long story short, it's an incredible community. We all know about it. But along with anything becoming popular, it also attracts things. It also attracts stuff that we don't like to see. There's a seat over here. If someone wants to take it, go ahead and grab it.
Sorry.
It's all good. It's all good.
Just there's a sign on the floor.
Yep.
Right here.
Do you want me to move that sign over there so it's out of the way?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I wasn't
I
sure.
had trouble bending down on the little.
That's okay.
I'm just gonna put it over here.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much.
No worries. So again, we're all. Can we still get close that curtains? Can we say a few more people come in? Oh, and invite them in.
We're good.
We're good. They knew what time it starts. So it's general housekeeping. We are recording. We do have permission to do so. But the camera is pointing towards us. We've got a voice recorder. It's going to pick up my voice. It's not going to pick up anyone else's faces here or nothing.
So everyone state your name loudly and clearly.
Draw
So, you know.
Come on in and close the door behind you. Come on in and close the door behind you.
I'm just checking for seats.
Okay, we're full. All right, we are going to be dealing with some mature themes and language. I do let the S word pop out every so often. My apologies in advance. We're going to go over the topics. We'll hopefully have some discussion afterwards.
You want me to go to the next slide, or do you have it? What do I hit?
Oh, just press the arrow key to the right. All right. I'll just go. I'll point to you so that way you go. There we go. Nice choreography. So our topics.
We're professionals, eh?
Okay. So our topics for the day are deception, questionable activities, questionable social media, hostility, baffling bullshit, and for exposure. And I think one of the most important thing we got to talk about is boundaries, the importance of it. One more arrow, please. So I have this incredible graphic. It's so simple. This actually has a website now. It's called redflagsandfandom.com. I'm continuously changing this project as from input. I had some great input 1 year, and I'm like, yeah, I have to integrate that. Interestingly, no, my very first time doing this, I didn't have technology like this to do this. So I went to the dollar store and made it look like a Wimmis. It was a Wimmis warning sign to warn about materials, harmful materials in the environment. So I think that was kind of appropriate. Go ahead. The next.
I should get like credit for this.
Yeah.
Like this is what I do at work. Like I work in an industrial environment, and we have WMIS we have to go through. We have to take training courses on a regular basis to make sure that we're not, huffing alcohol.
So getting into that first topic, we all been lied to, and it sucks, right? It's more of a gut punch when it's someone you trust. It's the worst when you get hit with it by someone that's very close to you. You think they're telling you the truth, and they've actually done something really wrong with intent. Being deliberately lied to is an immediate red flag, especially if it's someone who's trying to get your money or services, and they lie to you. No good can come from it. Just run. We'll see some deception as we go along with some of these examples.
And this is like not necessarily a Fandom thing. It's just a life thing. You're going to encounter people that are like, oh sure, I know that guy. I can get you that job. And it's like, okay, you fool me once. You're going to encounter people like that throughout your life.
Like exactly. But the problem is also we're not immune to it. We've got that crap happening here.
Oh yeah.
But again, we all make mistakes. Mistake is done in good faith. Like, oh, I thought this was going this way. I screwed up. Okay, well, you take the L. You take the L, you mean you take the lesson. You learn from that and go, I'm not going to do that again. Bad faith and harmful intent, that's deliberation. That's deliberate, doing it intentionally, and it's harmful. Or you would think the person doing it knows it's harmful. And we've seen that as nasty examples, even in my own backyard. I don't name names, I don't name organizations. I'm not worried about so-and-so as I'm more concerned about such and such, because one of the big issues we were dealing with is the cyclical nature of this stuff happening again and again. I'm just trying to do my little part to try to break the cycle. But again, bad faith and patterns, someone doing the same, or organization doing the same thing over and over again, that's not a mistake.
I feel like with Fandom, we're dealing with like big fish in a small pond. We've got a lot of small ponds. People that are in those ponds feel like I am the big shot. They get a lot of emotion and ego wrapped up in their roles in doing this panel or doing whatever it is people do in Fandom, and they take it very, very, very personally, and they begin to bring that baggage into their dealings with, like, well, I don't like that convention. We're rivals with those guys. That fan club doesn't know what they're doing. It's like. And it's natural for people to act like that because people want competition. People love a good Coke versus Pepsi,
Or conflict. Like, why can't we all just get along? We're all just a bunch of geeks, right?
People hate getting along. People love fights.
Yeah.
They love it. Little dogs like to see big dogs fight. And it's true.
Yeah. And also the thing that consider those reactions to deception being caught. Let's say for real life examples, you caught somebody lying to you. How do they respond? Do they get angry with you? Yeah. They lie again.
They lie some more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lie some more.
Gaslight.
Yeah.
Double down.
Double down. Go silent. Right? The reaction is being lied to. It's kind of a tell-all on that. We'll see some examples going on, and one of the things I want to make sure I mention is that some of the examples that I have, they can also qualify for other sections too as well. They're not mutually exclusive. Like we can talk about something with hostility along with deception and questionable activities. Like they kind of cluster together. It just boggles the mind, especially with what started this project was not just one but two separate organizations in my hometown doing some really questionable things. It's like, okay, I got to speak out on this. Let's go ahead and do the next one.
Next slide.
Yeah, please. All right, so questionable activities. Most of the time, use of deception to achieve gain, and it's usually regarding financial matters. Breaking it down, they're trying to take your money and scam you. Financial concerns are usually written off with no legal consequences. Like, you go pay in advance for a show for $50, you're not going to get your money back, but it's small potatoes.
I used to try to keep a list of like, well, this show vanished and left people without underpaying, and this show vanished and this. But there's at least 5 every year. It happens over and over and over.
It's a cyclical nature, and the best way is it's hard to get your money back. It's just like what police and law enforcement tell you. The money's gone. Prevention's the best way to protect ourselves. And anyone and everyone is targeted. But we're not immune to it in fandom. But prevention is the most important thing.
I feel someone was saying this to me earlier this week. Word of mouth is the best publicity for any sort of like a podcast or a fandom convention. Word of mouth is your 100% best way to sell your show, and it's also the best way to find out what show you should avoid. And if you can talk to me and say, hey, did you go to so-and-so? Yeah, it was a little sketch. Yeah, they promised this and they didn't deliver. Well, that gives you some information.
Yeah.
And if you can hear that a show or any sort of fandom event that wants money is like, yeah, I went, it was good, I got good value for my money, it's worth it, you should go, then there you go,
But we'll see some really questionable things as we go along here. Let's go to the next slide, please. Sorry, one more. And one more. We'll go real brief on this one. Long story short, there was a convention that was telling lone volunteers, we need cash money. We need $2,500 to run our show, or else we can't run. We need to pay for insurance fees. So
there was a show in Texas that stopped the entire convention, got on Saturday night, got everybody to the main events and said, we need $10,000.
Incredible. This was actually, this is in my own backyard. They were telling their own volunteers that they need money and they need to pay for insurance. Now, what's the immediate red flag on this? I mean, if you're running a show, when you actually know what you're doing, think you actually have that covered? Well, as it turns out, it was already covered by, this organization got funding from the municipality the years before, that year, and that year as well. There was never a need. It was in a fake emergency. So they did a fundraiser to get money. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide, please. One more. It's all sectioned off. So they did a GoFundMe, and they only got $160 out of their $2,500 goal, but they still ran the show. Obviously, they didn't need the money. So they were actually getting funds from government, from our taxpayer.
This is what always amazes me about these fandom scams is the amount of money is so tiny.
Yeah.
If you're going to rip people off, go for at least 5 figures. Promise me that you're going to go for at least 5 figures.
Brought over 5,000, right?
Yeah.
So
don't nickel and dime for $2,500. Come on.
But I think what the mentality is of what they try to do is like, oh, it's so small, it's kind of hard to go after someone for that. All right, I don't understand fraud because I don't commit it. But again, targeting your own volunteers for something that doesn't, something that required that a competent organization would have handled correctly. Yeah, I'm gonna skip some stuff here. Let's go to the next slide, please. All right, this happened. I'm leaving some information here. Whoopsie! Oh, we heard. I'll stand over here.
Please don't knock the projector screen down.
Oh, don't worry about me. It's the projector, right? I'm leaving this address up because This organizer had history of scamming people previously, does this crap, shows up again, and it's a cyclical nature. We showed up in 2019, trying to do the same thing again, and I'm leaving the Holiday Inn Kitchener up because that hotel was no longer in business at the time they were advertising this event. I don't know about you, but if I was going to run the legitimate event, I'd make sure that I give the right information to go and go to the right place at the right time. And the red flag on this was not only was they're advertising a hotel that they change ownerships all the time, so the hotel had already been named differently for months on end prior to this. The other red flag was they were advertising. It's kind of, I had to block it off because it's personal information, but they were advertising a lot of celebrities that have never been in this town before, and I don't think they even know where it is. How will all these big names show up? So something wasn't adding up, and I did this really crazy thing. I actually contacted the hotel where this was actually being booked. And guess what the hotel told me?
Nothing there.
Yep. The hotel had canceled the booking 2 months prior, and they're still taking pre-admission cost. And the other red flag was that they decided to run their show the same date and time as an established show somewhere else in the same city. So they were trying to catch some of the people that was going to go to one show. Okay, we can come over here too, check out our show. I contacted the celebrities that were advertised, and of course the agents were like, yeah, no, we were already in breach. They weren't even going to show up. But they were advertising right to the last minute, and I tried my part to warn people, say the show isn't happening, and unfortunately, a whole lot of people showed up, losing a lot of money and time and travel time to come to a non-event.
That is kind of a historical thing with conventions. They'll put out a flyer with guests on it and says, invited guests. And that just means we invited them. That doesn't mean they're going to show up. That just means we invited them.
Exactly.
Next one, please. We talked about, and let's get to okay, we'll leave it right there. Thank you. So, if you were at the Convention Horror Stories panel, somebody made mention about having their photograph taken and used without their knowledge or consent for promotional purposes. Again, it was a different situation than what happens with Anime North. It was done completely out of, it was an unacceptable way of doing it. Stealing someone else's work and then using it for your own is one thing. Doing it dangerously is another. Anyone here are familiar with LARP? You know what LARP means? All right, thank you.
Live action role playing.
Thank you. Live action role playing, and it manifests in different forms. Sometimes, most of the time, it's non-physical, like the vampire role playing game. The most you do is play paper, scissors, rock, and you declare a move. To the other part, where we're actually engaging in playful in sport combat. But if you do LARP with combat, it's done safely. You use safe materials. You do not use metal. This is an actual sword.
Oh, okay.
This is an actual sword. If I can get the next slide up, sorry, the next picture up. Well, what they did is they stole it from a medieval fair in my town, redid the picture, and these are two actors who had practiced again and again and again to perform the stage combat show. And I know exactly when this photograph was taken, because in the original photograph, I'm standing here waiting for my fight with her sister. So,
wow.
Any organization that steals other people's work and then uses it for their own, no. But they're advertising very unsafely. LARP, you do not actually LARP at all with metal swords.
Their picture is what's supposed to be in your mind.
Yeah.
That's what you're thinking while you're hitting each other with the foam rubber.
So you see questionable activities like that and go, ugh, no. It's one thing you get lied to, and you're seeing stuff actually manifesting out in a form like from being ripped off to advertising unsafe activities. That's no, thank you. Next slide, please. So hostility. Interesting note. When I first came up with this idea, I think I had like maybe 18 points, and I'm like, no, we're not doing that. I got it down to 8. Now I'm getting down to 7. Probably get it down to 6 points. The other stuff we had was personal attacks, hostility, threats, and manipulation. Let's condense it down to hostility. That top one there, I don't think I can say it correctly. Is it ad hominem?
Hominem, yeah.
Yes.
Ad hominem?
Okay, so anyone know what that means? It's Latin.
Oh.
I see a hand. Attack the person. Thank you very much. Instead of attacking the argument, you're attacking the person. You're seeing hostile actions. It's one thing to disagree. It's one thing to say you're wrong. But when you're seeing people trying to do their stuff, trying to bullshit you, while attacking someone's character instead of attacking the argument, that's it. And a lot of the times too, we're talking about an overreaction to valid criticism. Like you caught someone doing something they're not supposed to, say, hey, this isn't right. So often I've seen someone react by saying, by just being vile and ugly, and we've seen too much of that in our community. You see that stuff, just, I'm out of there. Unfortunately, again, we're talking, like you said, we're talking about real life. Stuff happens in life at all, in our everyday lives, that's terrible. We're seeing a lot of that creep into our community as well. That's why I'm trying to speak out about it. But harassment and hate, yuck. I've seen some hateful comments. One of the worst things I've seen lately is the use of calling someone a pedophile. Calling someone a pedophile as a matter of personal insult. That's pretty damn disgusting and very devastating, especially when you try to label someone like that as a matter of. And it's also horrible because it undermines the serious criminal, disgusting nature of that criminal act. It's horrible and vile. But actually, we're going to backstep a little bit. Can I get the picture up? Can you go
Back?
Forward, please, and we'll take it off. There is some good news. December 2023, this happened in a Ontario court, so it's within our jurisdiction here in Ontario. There is no public interest in speech that exposes vulnerable groups to hate. So talking about people who identify as LGBTQ plus, for my I'm going to say L plus just so I can get the words out easier. I can't. You know what I mean? People identify in that various spectrum. They're being called groomers, being called pedophiles, and being called horrible names because of how they identify. Fandom is not immune. I'm a moderator at a local forum for about 60,000 to 70,000 people, and I've actually had to take action against someone doing that stuff and have the administration, deal with it by attacking someone by calling these horrible names, and it was a fandom-related thing. So there is something happening in regards to that. Can I get back steps just to get rid of that picture, please? The threats of LOL suits. Yeah, we'll do questions.
Discussions later? Okay, no.
Yeah, we'll do some discussion afterwards. But
Yeah.
Okay,
No
thank you. But threats of so commonly hearing some people say, "Oh, I'm going to sue you if you say this." Well, if you're saying what you're saying is truthful, and it's especially as a screenshot of one conversation, it's kind of hard to refute that, right? I've seen people in fandom, organizers, people in authority of events, trying to threaten and coerce and manipulate and stop valid conversation by falsely claiming to have legal teams. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Let's go to, actually, this last little part here. Nobody trashes a name like someone afraid they'll know the truth. That is so true. Let's go ahead to the next picture, please.
So that and then another.
And then one more. And then one more. Thanks. So talk about the LOL suit thing. This happened not too long ago. Long story short, the person running the convention said a horrible thing of a sexual nature. Instead of trying to pretend to be professional. So instead of just saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, we should never have done that," their representative decided to double down, pretend to make some bogus legal threat claims while claiming to have a legal team which didn't exist, trying to stifle conversation. Oh, by the way, that entire conversation remains, despite this person's threats. And the world being what it is, 2 years ago we did this presentation. We both said, we haven't seen an actual lawsuit in regards to defamation and threats of that kind of stuff. Well, I'll keep it brief, and I'm not going to name names. But the same person who went around saying all these legal threats is actually now being sued for defamation for calling someone a pedophile. So and that's before the courts right now. I'm not going to say anything further, but just saying what goes around comes around, or that kind of thing. But it takes an extraordinary amount of screwing up to get to that point.
You got to work pretty hard.
You got to work pretty hard. This person works really hard at screwing up really bad. But again, hostility. If you can't be we're a fandom. We're probably like the most creative and awesome and compassionate people I've ever met in my entire life. It's one of the reasons why I love doing this stuff. And you get these people showing up doing really ugly, vile things, and it baffles the mind. You got something?
No.
Okay.
Next slide.
Yeah, please. So, question on social media. Okay, I need to preface this. There's going to be some stuff on here that's a little bit kind of
Warn the. It said the notes say warn the audience. That's what
Yeah, I'm actually having capital letters warn the audience. There's going to be some. There's going to be some stuff here weird. It's going to be what the hell is that? Why would they post that? See also hostility. See also deception. It's like false advertising, dishonest representations. And I like what you called it a couple years ago, the rage bucks.
It's rage bucks. They're collecting rage bucks.
They're collecting, on especially like YouTube video people who spend more time saying how much they hate something without actually saying how much they like something, and they never even participate in the first place. Their entire job is to go, this sucks.
Well, that's there have been several people, certainly at Anime North, that would show up with the camera crew trying to harass attendees to get attention, to get reactions, so they could film it, so they could put it on their TV show, and then later on their YouTube channel, and then later on their whatevers for clicks, right? And it's like, come on, guys.
I think they're the same crew that me and my security team actually had to kick out one year. It's like 2007.
Yeah,
that's about that deal.
Kicked to the curb.
Oh boy,
so that's just abusive.
Yeah. While we're on the topic, is like you get a camera crew come into you, they don't have any kind of credentials on you. Make sure you might want to advise the people in charge of the show, find a staff member or something. Because if you're doing media stuff, you don't have a badge, they're just wandering around.
I feel like one of the great things about Anime North, especially, is all the stuff that happens outside. The rave happens outside in the parking lot, and the cosplay that happens out there. It's a great spot for people to mingle. We got the food trucks. It's wonderful. But anybody can just come in off the street. They don't got to have a badge. They can just come in and do whatever they want. And that's a good thing, and it's a bad thing.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag, but for the most part, it's fantastic. It just takes one. Pardon my language. It's just some jacket.
There's no other show like it that I know of that has this culture. So you have a great show here. Anime North really is special.
Yeah, I really enjoy Anime North. It's almost like I was saying at the other panel. It's almost like a family reunion that you actually want to go to, because it's like I know the people that started this show. We used to work together at the other convention, and I walked down the hallway earlier. I'm like, oh, I know you. We haven't seen each other since when we used to all have hair.
Fandom keeps you young.
All right, so this next picture is going to be kind of disturbing. It is disturbing, actually. I removed these people from my life immediately after seeing this. Go ahead, please. So this came out a couple years ago. It was a Fandom podcast that used to show up here. I don't think I've seen them here this year, and I hopefully we won't ever see them again. Back in 2023, there was a.
I just want to call out all the typos in this.
Yeah. Hey, all I did was censor personal information.
It's. I want to take a red pen and just
Okay. Yeah.
I see them. Yeah, so I see all of.
So what it says here is, with the transgender activists raising the false flag of not feeling safe, the leftist politicians are ready to sound the alarm with a new law that wants to fine protesters $25,000 for calling names to grown men dressing in women's clothing performing sexual acts to minors. Here we are again, associating people who identify with their gender and sexuality spectrum, comparing them to criminal acts against children.
Like the prepositions alone are just so awful in this.
Yeah. So, and that's coming within Fandom. Interestingly enough, too, I think what they try to do is save face by saying, okay, the fact is with such and such name, we were aware of people being concerned. This person's never going to do anything for us again. That person never existed. It's a pseudonym for the people that run the show. so they couldn't even be honest with who actually said that.
There was, I want to say, first year back, 2022, Enemy North had a drag show. And there were complete weirdo strangers on Twitter who have never been to this show or never going to come to this show, flipping out about how dare they have this degenerate activity. And it's like, buddy, you're not coming to the show. Why do you care? And it's just to get clicks, just to get attention.
Yeah. All right, next one, please. And one more. I kind of in stages here. So this was during COVID. This one's kind of personal to me because I lost my mom during COVID. When she was living independently and she got real sick real fast during COVID, and I couldn't be with her when it was decided that she was going to go into palliative care. So during the same time that my mom understands that I couldn't visit her, around the same time of COVID, this happens, where the convention, they were talking about not showing up to the show because they want to be safe for their families. Okay, good for you. No different than getting our groceries at Costco or Walmart. This event is not for lockdown cheerleaders. Stay home and let others enjoy their lives. So here they are, being hostile.
There was a big, within the fandom community, there was a lot of, I don't want to say controversy, but there was a debate about when are we going to bring these cons back?
Yeah.
How are we going to do it safely?
Yeah.
What's the appropriate time? What are our procedures? And every convention had a different solution to this. And Enemy North has gone for 2 years.
Yeah. Let's face it, buying groceries is important, but buying those Funko toys, we can live without for a little while, right?
There were a lot of the lower level convention toy shows and this and that. Like, I'm not gonna let some communist tell me I can't have. We have to have these. We have to sell each other plastic gewgaws. It's important. It's important to our mental health to sell these gewgaws.
So this questionable social media going on here. So there is a bright side to this. This person did realize, I think, this is my personal opinion, I think they realized after being used as an example, I think this person had made a really mature decision and not too long ago actually sold off his stake to someone else and has someone else took over the convention. And I wish them the best of luck. I think they're going to do much better now with different leadership. So let's turn our frown upside down. All right, let's go ahead and do the next one here. Yeah. Oh boy. So what happened was there was a controversial voice actor who was engaged in a lawsuit, and the lawyer representing the other party against this voice actor, I guess whoever their supporters were, decided it was a good idea to steal his face, put it onto Disney IP, and then try to sell it. And this was on the official website and the official social media of the convention that was running. How in the hell does that make sense? It was taken down in about 2 hours. Yeah, Dave's like, what the hell is that?
That's insane.
Yeah, who possesses someone to take someone else's stuff and sell it again as part of your official policy? Like, that's ugh. Let's move along here. Oh yes, for exposure. You're doing it for the exposure. Yeah, people die of exposure. Come on in. We're halfway through. Or more.
And as anyone involved in any sort of creative field can tell you, you are going to spend the rest of your life being approached by people that have a great idea for a thing. They would love for you to write it or draw it or produce it for them, and they'll share the profits with you. They will not give you any money up front because they don't have any money. They never have any money, but they would just want you to do all the work. But it was their great idea, so you should do all the work, all the labor, and you get to share in all the profits that are no doubt going to come from this guy's amazing idea.
Yeah, this I did bleep out the obvious word that was bleeped out, but this is really oatmeal. I think this encapsulates the whole thing awesomely. The Beaverton has I got a screenshot from the Beaverton. If you want to go next, please. Artist paid with and dies from exposure. Get that deposit up front. If someone's actually trying to be your friend, they'll respect you enough to actually pay you.
If it's a real project, they will have real money. And if they don't have real money, then you don't waste your time. Just tell them my time bill's out, starting at $100 an hour. We'll talk when you can pay my bill.
Let's go over the next screen, please. So Essentially, we're talking about for exposure, it's the prize or the reward is you, your efforts, or your talents, instead of actually being paid actual cash. Tangentially, we're talking about spec work, the speculation of a return of a return of investment. Essentially, it's a very significant risk of loss. So get that deposit. If someone wants you to do something, they'll want to give you enough money to make it happen. Like get that deposit for the materials at least, right? But I also want to make sure volunteering is important, but don't give yourself away. Know your worth. I praise Anime North for how I think they set limits for how much you're allowed to volunteer.
They do.
And I think it's great because when I used to be one of the people that show up Thursday morning and leave Monday afternoon. I loved every second of it, but I couldn't walk for 2 days afterwards. So
if you stick around any fandom convention that's been around for a while, you'll see people on the staff that are kind of bitter. They're lifers. They're not quite sure why they're there, but they can't leave.
Yeah,
you don't want to be that person.
I'll have a personal story from 2009 highlight how weird this stuff goes. I was cosplaying as a character for a particular fandom that was going to have a big movie come out. And I went to this convention for this particular fandom, and the executive of the production company, this is a big time company, lots of money involved, lots of investment. He contacts the convention chair who contacts me and says, hey, I think this person wants to do some work with you. Like, all right, so I got to contact the executive. And the executive wants me, I live in Kitchener, so wants me to drive all the way to Toronto on a work day, all the way to Toronto, middle of the day and middle of the back way, so of course that's a lot of traffic, and then pay for my own parking and stand around in my costume and essentially work for them. And I asked them, well, what kind of financial reimbursement can I get for this? And they're like, oh, we thought you'd just like to do it like you do at a convention. So here's an executive not really understanding like it costs money for me to go somewhere to have fun.
I've had people like, would you come to this thing and show anime at this thing, or would you put on a panel at this thing? And then in an incredibly inconvenient time and place, and I'm like, you're going to have to make this worth my while.
I mean, there's always a cost benefit ratio, whatever you're comfortable with. I mean, we're all different, but I mean.
This is something that a lot of these people take advantage of.
Yeah,
we love this stuff. We love this stuff, and we are giving of ourselves because we like Japanese cartoons or whatever. And they will take advantage of it. Well, of course, you love anime. You have to do this. Like, no, I'm not. My name is not Bob Bondi. I'm not getting. This is not. This is fandom. This is for fun.
Yeah, because volunteers are the heart and soul of fan-run cons. I mean, I love Anime North. I think they're doing great. But I mean, it's great to want to give, but you can give too much, and there are those that are willing to take too much from you.
Next.
Yes, please. So I have an example here.
Exposure.
Yes, this actually was posted during COVID, during a virtual convention.
Oh, I remember this.
Oh yeah, they got hammered big time for this. There's people in attendance at this convention that said even harsher words than I did in response to this. So what they wanted to do was have a cosplay contest, and if you won, you would have the chance to be used in a product you're going to sell. Hell no.
You get to be in a board game.
Yeah. If you want me to be in part of your product you're going to make money off of, I want a piece of that pie. You get to be in it. No. They got called out, and I think within 24 hours it got taken down.
It's like, come on.
So, again, for exposure.
What's great is that social media is allowing just regular people to go, it doesn't pass the smell test, It's like, this doesn't seem right.
It smells like shit.
Yeah, and everybody you can talk to your friends and say, does this seem right? No, this doesn't seem right to me. Well,
So you're a good time checker.
Oh,
good. Yeah, let's go for the next topic here. We're almost done, and we'll get some conversation going on, hopefully. This is actually a result of some great feedback we had from the very first one we did together a couple years ago. Someone was talking about logical fallacies, and I froze. And I'm like, hey, that's a great point. Essentially, we're talking about things that make no sense whatsoever or are done in bad faith. So we're talking, one of my favorites is the sunk cost fallacy. Essentially, what that means is, if I dump more money into something, will the same thing that's going wrong be fixed?
I can't quit now. I've invested so much.
Yeah.
If I quit, all that money will be wasted. you know.
Yeah. The Dunning-Kruger, there's people who do not belong doing certain jobs that they are not manifestly suited for. I will never claim to be a crisis management counselor with someone. I don't have that level. I mean, I have empathy, but I realize I don't have that ability to, help someone that are tired and in need like that. But I'm smart. No, I'm not going to do that kind of work.
The smartest thing you can say sometimes is, I don't know.
And there's people that can't do that. And unfortunately, they're at the level of running conventions.
I will say one thing about Anime North is I hear this at every staff meeting. They tell the staff, if you do not know the answer to a question, don't guess.
Yeah.
Just say the information table is that way.
We get Hanlon's razor a lot. Essentially, hang on, I have to remember what Hanlon's razor is. Anyone remember? I'm drawing a blank.
I know it's the name of a spaceship in science fiction.
Oh, right. You got a hand up here.
Was it the one where is that the one where you can't tell the difference between
stupidity
and malice?
Yes, thank you. So stupidity and try not to explain by what can be, try not to attribute to malice that can be explained by stupidity. But whataboutism is like, you try to bring something up and something goes, what about this? It has nothing to do with the actual situation. We've seen that happen in fandom. I'm gonna skip to one here. Just asking questions, constantly barraging questions without actually caring about an answer, just to waste people's time. And this one here in particular, Brandolini's Law. Brandolini's Law is something that came to the age of the internet. It's called, essentially what it means is that it takes more effort to battle bullshit than it does to spew it.
A lie goes around the world while the truth is still putting on its shoes.
Yeah, I've seen convention organizers and representatives, they're using Brandolini's Law, and it's like constantly spewing garbage when I'm actually not doing anything valid to help their situation. But the big one here, I want to talk about an example. This took place here in the Toronto area, groupthink and lack of oversight. This one actually had dire consequences, and it's by luck that the convention itself was not folded. We did not suffer, and the people who were involved should be lucky that they never got criminally charged. Summarizing the story, a convention in the Toronto area decided it would be a good idea to sell alcohol. The problem was that they never cleared with the hotel, and they were selling stuff that wasn't licensed.
Well.
And it was a not-for-profit convention, and they were taking in all the profit from the money. So essentially, it was an operation that was producing, procuring, profiting from a very illegal enterprise. And of course,
and they didn't even have stock cars. They weren't even getting chased through the mountains by the moonshiners. The revenue.
Thank you. Okay, that's an old person's joke, by the way.
The movie is called Thunder Road. It stars Robert Mitchum. It's very North Carolina. Thank you.
Or Smokey and the Bandit?
Well, sure.
Yeah, we can go with that as well.
Sure.
So essentially what happens is inevitably it all comes to an end. What happened was the truth came out, and instead of owning up to their responsibility, the people who were actually profiting from this got real angry and were saying really ugly things to the people who were actually volunteering and essentially being told to do illegal shit. Well, it came to an end. A lot of harsh words were said, even to the point where the convention chairman posted to the front page of their website saying, we were doing these things, but we were allowed to. So essentially what he did was admit on the front page that they were committing illegal activities as part of their official operations. Now that's what you call stunningly baffling bullshit. Stunning. 3 days before the convention, that convention chair was gone. Depending on who you talk to, either was fired or quit. But 3 days before the show, gone. And again, turning that frown upside down, people who are in charge, who should be doing things the correct way, they were essentially said, you're fired. They actually fired these people. About 9 months to a year later, they actually did an overhaul, saved the convention. The people that got fired, I think they finally came to realize how lucky they were that they didn't get criminally charged. So essentially at the bottom here, if it smells like shit, it probably is. Don't step in it. If you stepped in it, you got to wipe it off, because it's going to carry with you. You don't want to be a part of anything that doesn't make sense. especially if it's going to be something that's going to be dangerous to both your person and potential freedom.
Make sure you're licensed before you sell alcohol.
And one other point too. One of the reasons I think, to Fandom North's credit, I think around 2008 or so, a lot of conventions started changing what they called security. They stopped calling themselves security. In Ontario, our security laws got overhauled. I know this for a fact because I have to know, because I come from that background, and I got people that report to me, so I make sure they're not doing things they're not supposed to, and I make sure I'm not doing things I'm not supposed to, which means having a security guard license. So you can't call yourself security. So you mentioned make sure you have that license. Go to a convention, you actually have someone doing security, they're actually licensed. So the
larger, since conventions have been getting so much growing so exponentially in that time period, you've got a lot of facilities, and Anime North is one of those. You've got to have licensed police, actual police people hired. They're not. This is overtime for the cops. The cops love this. But they had, like the facility said, you got to have X number of cops on hand, and they're here to do that security job. That used to be like 3 teenagers in red shirts.
That was me.
Yeah, and that's no way to run a railroad.
True story. My very first time as a red shirt security, being the first responder, my very first night, I was the first responder to a sexual assault.
Oh.
See, and at no point should you have been.
No, I should not have been, ever. I mean, we brought in law enforcement. We did have law enforcement people handy. First thing, I'm like, all right, I'm going to get my boss. I'm like, okay, I'm way over here. Get support for the victim. It was a sports team at the one room in the hotel that we didn't have exclusivity to. So we got the person that was involved, took care of them, and then we moved all of our programming out of that room. So that way we can make sure I segregate our people. And that sports team was actually removed from the hotel 8 hours later. Didn't like getting woken up early in the morning.
I will say one thing about having security on convention staff is calling your staff security attracts meatheads who want to push people around.
Thank you.
And I've been on that side of things too, where the security decides, oh, those people are troublemakers, we're going to hassle them all weekend long.
Yeah. So let's get on to boundaries. We're in the last 15 minutes here. I really want to emphasize more on boundaries. I kind of screwed up the first time I did this, so the importance of it. But right off the bat, again, praise for Anime North. In the program guide, it even says no means no. And especially if you're wearing cosplay. Cosplay doesn't mean, hey, go ahead and grab this person and do something with him. I've been seeing this all weekend, and I love it. It's, hey, can I get a picture with you?
Hey, can I get a picture? Hey, can I get a picture?
Yeah.
Can I get a picture?
Events that don't respect your autonomy like that, run. I'm going to ask you to bring the next picture up. This actually happened. Let me look at the reader here. Okay, so yeah. So the red underline here, the person in charge of the show was saying that his stance for volunteers must do nothing to intervene and take no action to de-escalate if they observe acts of harassment, unless a formal complaint is made. Well, okay, that doesn't make sense. The only exception to this rule is if we see a cosplayer accepting money for photos, we must intervene because they're a vendor and we need to get a cut. I'm like, how is this part of protecting people as their official policy? Likely, his position was that we're likely going to see women faking harassment in order to attack the convention and take it down. He believes that there are organized groups trying to destroy his convention. Wow, that's a lot of...
Because people don't have anything else to do in their lives.
Yeah. So let's go back to the previous one then.
Previous slide?
Yeah, so talk about the entire spectrum of safety, right? Anime North doing things fantastically. You see this shit. You know, if you're not respecting the people attending, what the hell? So again, cosplay is not consent. Grooming and predatory behaviors. And one of the grooming examples I've spoken to a victim. The most common thing, the words were this: 5 words. You're mature for your age.
Ew.
Yeah.
Ew.
If you ever hear someone saying that to someone else, you have a conversation with someone else, please take action. This happened the incident with the victim, I'm trying to be very, very cautious here. This happened in the early 90s at a convention. This person did realize, okay, this is not a healthy thing, and they escaped out of it. But there was someone who was targeting young girls and young women at conventions. I'd like to think it's a lot safer and better now, but with the growing popularity of everyone dressing up and having fun at a convention, your guard is down. You're having fun. You're with your own people. There's people that do come in and have been in the past doing things that are vile.
You know, honestly, I feel like now that and this is just me talking about how I feel, how it feels walking around the convention, that is, there's more people at the shows, but these people are not the fandom lifers that were dependent upon this closed, almost secret fandom society to be able to get away with abusing minors. Because I'm from Atlanta. How many of you have heard of Dragon Con?
I used to go.
Dragon Con was started by a guy named Ed Kramer. He's in jail right now because he's a child molester. It was. He spent 15 years running that con, basically using it to groom children. And it's amazing that convention survived after he was arrested. He fought it tooth and nail. But at the time, Dragon Con was 5,000 people, 4,000 people, 3,000 people, and it was a small group of people that were not going to talk about it on the outside because it's some weird thing that no one wants to know about. You know, it's like, well, I'm not going to talk about this convention. It's, as you say, it's like a what? And now everyone knows what a Comic-Con is. We have police showing up. We have parents here with their kids. There's more parents every year with their children, which is great. And this is talking about kids from in a stroller to 15, 16 years old. I feel like everyone is more able to understand what goes on at a convention. They have a better idea that, I can't just drop my kid off and pick him up on Sunday and hope he's okay.
Oh my God.
You know?
Which has happened. I do want to mention though that things are a lot safer than they used to be.
It really feels like it feels safer.
We have been improving upon it, and it's like, and I'd like to think that it's because the community is smarter and safer and more connected. But there is that element of this show up there. I think it's definitely worth mentioning.
Certainly, yeah. You would want to be safe at a music festival. You would want to be safe at the C&E. You would want to be safe anywhere you go that's crowded people.
And it's worth mentioning too. The predatory behaviors isn't just about on that vile level. Just you got here. Not just targeting congoers financially. Like I'll skip that. Photographers. For example, you're going to do a photo shoot, bring a friend. If the photographer doesn't like your friend being there, just leave. There's an incident regarding a semi-local photographer who's recently had a lot of allegations brought about him. And the common denominator is all these incidents happen with just these two people, the person being photographed and this photographer. Well, if the photographer wants to be there with you to make sure you're okay, just run away.
Yeah, a legit photographer is not going to mind.
No.
A chaperone.
We'll talk about exploitation and entitlement. Again, we talked about that film crew stuff. Great, it's that whole parking lot becoming a party zone. But check for a badge. Ask for credentials if you get a camera stuck in your face. Like there was that. There were some news groups that did exploit that. I think they were actually calling themselves when they came to our convention, they called themselves a documentary crew. When anyone joined their channel would see that's not exactly what they're doing. Entitlement, fans, organizers exceeding their authority. I kind of lost my train of thought on that. Essentially, if you're a volunteer getting told to do things you really shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, you're a volunteer, man. You can hit the bricks. Walk.
Yeah.
Done.
Screw it.
No is a complete sentence, by the way.
A number of years ago, there was a big convention that came to Toronto, and it didn't do so well. It was considered a disappointment by many people attending, and shit happens, right? You do your best. You try to do it honestly. Things don't work out. Great. So in the aftermath, one of the organizers came over to the message board of the convention that's been there for years, the previous July, and decided to go on their board and say, oh, why was this convention a failure? Oh, because of this convention. Their argument being that the people who ran the convention in July should have also been working for free at their convention, which also costs about like 3 times as much as what people normally pay to go. So
That's a little entitled, yeah.
That little entitlement actually happens within fandom. You're your own person. You pick and choose how you want to do things, when you want to do things. I do what I want to do because it's fun. I enjoy doing what I want to do, and I'm okay with the cost-benefit analysis on that. But if someone comes around and says, hey, you have to do this or else, no, I'm out.
Yeah.
There was even a convention, disrespect of volunteers. I guess, scammers and abusers is the basic point. They thrive on control. It's amazing how this common denominator, people in charge of conventions, in charge of organizations, do things that make no sense whatsoever. They have to hit the red flags, but they have to be in charge doing what they do. And it just boggles the mind how often we've been seeing that. Again, it mixes up the whole thing. Like I said, that example where with the baffling BS and these people selling alcohol without illegally. So they lied to their volunteers, low deception. It's obviously a questionable activity. They said awful things about it on social media and they were being hostile about it. They had the baffling BS, and of course they crossed boundaries. So they had 6 out of 7 flags on that alone. So, and that was also them being in control and telling people what they want to do, and they're being very disrespectful to volunteers. Like, a volunteer should never have to worry about going to jail for doing what they're supposed to be told, what they're told to do, right? That's happened at conventions. Suspected crime and prevention, like, it takes on there as well. Suspected crime and prevention offenses. Hey, isn't this illegal? You stop to think, is this illegal? And it's actually happened at conventions. I'm going to keep my mouth quiet on it. I don't want to get myself in trouble.
I'm not even going to talk about the times I personally was involved with.
There you go.
Like,
hey, you're American, you can plead the fifth. Sorry, no, you're Canadian now, sorry. My apologies.
I'm a PR. I'm illegal.
Okay.
I'm legal.
Yeah, you're safe here. At the point I also want to talk about is like 911 anytime feeling unsafe. Can I get 2 pictures forward, please?
1 and 2.
Perfect. Thank you. I kind of screwed up. I thought usually the police are usually set up here, but the orange one here, that's where the ambulance crew is. That's a great place to go out in the open, especially in that big parking lot area where it's harder to find staff. If you're in a situation where you need to get to safety, go find the emergency crew. They got radios directly to the cops that'll help you out. Anime North does a fantastic job of bringing in so many resources, like you were mentioning earlier, actually paid duty cops and like so many medics on scene, both the trauma medic service.
And it's a scale up.
It's incredible.
It was not that way to start.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible for safety. I'm gonna wrap things up here, and if anyone,
Next slide.
Okay, so yeah, thank you. Bear with me here. I'm doing a little low-tech follow along here.
I would say when in doubt, check it out. You can go on Reddit. Reddit, people love to talk on Reddit, talk about Toronto conventions. There's people bitching about Anime North right now, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Discord servers and all. Yeah.
Discord servers, people love to complain. And this is something I want to say about fandom. The currency in fandom is fans are people, and it's been this way since the 1930s. Fans are people that think they're smarter than everyone else. We're smart. We got picked on in school because we read funny books. We're smart. We read science fiction. We have these concepts, these amazing concepts in our head. We're part of a community where we talk about these amazing things. So we're obviously smart. And the way we demonstrate that smartness is by questioning, is by saying yes, and it's by, well, let me, actually, you forgot to mention this, and you forgot to mention that. Well, here's what you should be doing, and it's so immensely frustrating. But at the same time,
It's fun.
it's fun, and this is where, honestly, problems come to light. It's like, actually, that was bad, or actually, though, so it's worth paying attention to that stuff, as irritating as it can be.
Like, if it doesn't check it out, we can't take things at face value, especially with
Yes.
all the information available to us. A red flag I caught onto was someone trying to pull a fast one on me, and I actually had wherewithal to go, okay, I'm just going to look that up. No. We have, almost everyone here has a cell phone. You've got internet. Usually we have internet.
Usually.
Usually,
You
we
can go to
do.
the Starbucks, use the Starbucks at home.
Yeah, I think it's a secret Faraday cage. That's just my that's just my thought. But if you see somebody say something, I mean, go ahead and speak up. 5 minutes, thank you.
5 minutes.
If you see something, say something. It doesn't hurt to go, hey. At least there may have just been a bad communication. Things may not have worked out.
It's always worthwhile to check it out. Maybe you heard something from your friend and you say, well, I'll check that out, instead of just saying, my friend said. Because we don't want to hear what your friend said. We want to hear what you have to say. If your friend had a problem with the show, we need to hear from your friend.
And empower yourself and others. I mean, I've been rambling off here for almost an hour, and but there's a lot more of us than there are them, and we're a collective unit with a lot of eyes and ears, and it's our fandom and it's our community, and we are what makes of it. And it's a fandom and a community I'm very proud of to be a part of. It's something I thoroughly enjoy, and I hope to keep doing it in some regard, in some way, in some format for years to come. And
Thank you very much. Oh, there's one more after this, too.
sure, go ahead.
I do have a classic anime blog at let'sanime.blogspot.com, and I do have a lot of columns about what it was like to run an anime club and the smelly people that would show up and break things. And some entertaining reading. I think the tag is Fandom. Done.
One of my favorite pictures of working security at a convention.
Oh man, that's amazing! Look at that! Oh man.
Crop circle. And that's me just laying down on the job. The legendary carpet at the Regal Constellation.
Oh man.
Thank you very much for being a part of this.
Do we have any questions? You want to take a question?
We have about 4 minutes left. I'm sorry we went long. If anyone wants to bring something up, yes.
Can you backslide so I could switch it like
Oh, go back.
Go back.
Which one? That one?
Yeah.
There you go. Anyone else? Yes.
I'd like to point out Anime policy isn't just no means no, it also is go away means go away now and don't come back.
And I love it.
That's a great policy.
I love it.
And that, honestly, these policies all came from
previous
you
incidents.
people.
Yeah.
You people saying we need this, we need
And
that.
previous incidents, I do believe that the one incident where people were encouraging people to fight or engage in PDAs, I think that was from that film crew that those were after.
yeah,
I think it was in response to that. You got your hand up.
I was gonna say, excellent presentation.
Thank you.
With Shefton, there could be something out from vendors, because I had an incident years ago where my boyfriend at the time was approached by a vendor who was selling hentai, and my boyfriend said no thank you. My girlfriend at the time, was a girlfriend, said no thank you, and the vendor was like, well, that's why she's your girlfriend. Don't ever make that woman your wife. And I'm just like, and
Wow.
And we're married. We got married 5 years later. And so.
What a way to not sell. You want to go broke selling porn? That's the guy who's going to go broke selling porn.
Yeah.
How do you talk about screwing up in so many different ways, right?
my then boyfriend, he told me I had to walk away before I punched him, because don't say that to someone.
Yeah.
We were walking around the convention today and had people saying they're so unhappy that the police are the security people here, but we had to double check it. In 2018, we damn well needed those police because we had Christian protesters.
Yes.
Yes, I heard on the street. Yes, on the Sunday, yes.
I believe that
They say that we're horrible people because we don't want to have sex with.
I've had to do
that too. I enjoy telling them instead.
It's like some organizations and people thrive on being as awful as possible and just reveling in how horrible they can beat out other people and then selling it to themselves in an ugly way. But I need to mention, though, I do believe that there is a policy that after so many thousands of people are attending a show, Toronto Police do have to be hired on,
Yep.
which is fantastic. We're almost done.
Yeah, okay.
We're almost done. We're doing a quick Q&A.
Okay.
But yeah, it's double-edged sword. I appreciate what cops do. I've had some run-ins and I actually throw out a testimony against a cop. So there are other rotten apples, but I do want, when they're here, I've never had a negative interaction with a police officer here. Usually because they don't have to do anything, they don't have to do anything, which is exactly what they're doing
It's
their job
easy duty.
by being
It's
here.
easy.
Yeah. Okay, we have to wrap up here. Anyone else?
Yeah, we're done. We're done? Yeah.
I did appreciate that, like, when the protesters were there were cops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The protesters had to stay on the grass and everybody else had to stay on the sidewalk or the other side.
Yeah. We were on the grass. We were on the grass. The protesters were on the roadside.
If anyone wants to pass along a message, by all means, redflagsandfandom.com is where I've got the project set up. Thank you again for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was an awesome.
You're selling.
Stranger?